Is there a shift in the AFC East? And are the Dolphins going to be involved? Welcome, Dolphin Nation, and welcome, Bills Mafia, and Jets fans, and Patriots fans, and we're talking about the AFC East. So if you want to come on here and drill me for a few of my thoughts, then bring it, bring it. No, seriously. I'm not one of those guys that absolutely hates the Bills, absolutely hates the Patriots, absolutely hates the Jets. There's points in my life where I was actually a pretty big Jets fan at one time. I loved Ken O'Brien, Wesley Walker, Al Toon, that era. Really liked those players. So I'm not really now Patriots fans. Sorry, I'm along with everybody else. I hated you. I hated Tom Brady. I hated everything about you. But but there was also a time when you had Drew Bledsoe and Ben Coates and a lot of those guys, and I actually rooted for you guys a few games because I actually enjoyed watching them play. And that's kind of what I go by. So there's been a few times where I have enjoyed the division rivalries. I loved watching Kenny O'Brien and Dan Marino 50 to 45 shootouts, and those were fun times. And that's when I got to see those guys and was like, hey, you know what? They're not too bad. Altoon, not too bad. Wesley Walker, not too bad. So, and there's been other points. There's been other times where I've kind of rooted for some of you guys as well. But Buffalo, I actually, mid 80s, before that 90s stretch where everybody got sick of you guys as well. I was actually big into, and I still love Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, all those guys, Darryl Talley, the list goes on. The team that y'all had during that Super Bowl failure is absolutely enormous, and I respected them so much. So everybody has had their point for the AFC East. But today we're talking about free agency. Is there going to be a little bit of a turn in the AFC East? And we'll start right at the top. And at the top is the Buffalo Bills. And I'm not going to talk a lot about free agency. This is just going to be some of the key things that they have done. But first and foremost, basically, Buffalo's top free agent, not free agent, but all of their free agency went into one guy, Josh Allen. And it's well deserved. He's the highest paid player in the league. I've had some videos where I've told you what I think of Josh Allen. Absolutely brilliant. One of the few times I can say an MVP, a quarterback that won MVP that deserved it. I do think he deserved it. And definitely worth the money because if something happens and he does go down, you guys are screwed. Way worse than us with Tua going down. But the key things really right now with Buffalo, and I don't think it's shifted much in that top area. I think Buffalo is going to be right there again next year. Whether anybody can really challenge the AFC East crown. I mean, we challenged in 2023 and absolutely wet the bed and let them come back and win that division again. And but they have just been so resilient in everything they've done. Their front office is amazing. Their head coach is amazing. Their quarterback is obviously amazing. But everybody wants to look at it as Josh Allen, but that team is still a good team. And I actually think they were better last year once Diggs was gone. It's too much talky talk. And I think I think that's why he got MVP. He was able to pass the ball around a lot more, especially to his tight ends. You guys have two great tight ends. And then we'll see how you do with your defense. But right now, I don't see a real shift going on there. Of course, Miami was second in the division. And I just did a video talking about our free agents, so I'm not going to go into the guys that we... Oh, and on Buffalo, before I move on to Miami, of course, you also you signed Joey Bosa. A lot of talk about that. Again, we'll see how that works out for you guys. He hasn't played a full season since 2021, so if he's healthy, obviously, he's going to make a big difference. Will they use him more passing situations and bring him in that way where they can kind of spare some wear and tear on his body? Maybe. Or does it end up being kind of a candy store thing? You get kind of a sweet tooth, you leave him in there and push it just a little bit too much. And we'll see how, I mean, he's coming off another injury this year. Like I said, he hasn't played a full season since 2021. So it's not a signing. A lot of people really talked about, which Miami even talked about, Bosa coming to Miami. And I wasn't really a fan. Would I have loved to have him, 5-6 years ago? Absolutely. But I think we're actually set at edge rushers. I mean, moving back kind of to the Miami thing, edge rushers were in really, really good shape, I think, because you look at Jalen Phillips, who will be coming back again, kind of like Bosa, can't stay healthy. We'll see if he can come back this time. But with Jalen Phillips and Chop Robinson and Bradley Chubb, we have edge rushers. And then, of course, you also have to throw in Zach Sealer, who to me has been our best defensive tackle in a while, including Wilkinson. So I think if anything else, Zach proved last year that maybe it was a little bit more Zach than it was Wilkinson. Maybe it was a little bit more salt than it was pepper. Before people start getting racist on me, that's what they called themselves, salt and pepper. So just don't do it. So anyway, going back to Miami, I think it comes down to Tua. Is he going to stay healthy? The free agency issue there is kind of the same as Buffalo. More camp bodies than anything else. They did replace Javon Holland, who was our only real big free agent that we were going to lose, with Ashton Davis from New York, and I'll have to check my notes because I'm going to screw up his name again, but Malafanu from Detroit, and I apologize. I know that sounds horrible. It's so bad. I'm just going to start calling him LM. But anyway, obviously, those are probably going to be our starters unless we can draft somebody maybe in the first round. I'm going to have a video obviously coming out about the draft and what I like and who I like. Which I can't think of the kid's name off the top of my head. I've got it in my notes here. Uh, Malachi Starks is one. There is a possible scenario where he might drop to Miami, and then you've got Nick Emanuary, I guess. Man, you guys got to get simpler names. Another guy that is a possibility. And there was a guy that just in the combine ran a ridiculous 40, great vert, big guy too. He's like 6'2", like two. I mean, he's a big guy. I don't know how he would be in coverage, but he is fast enough to be a good cover safety. So if we could get somebody like that, and you have those three guys that can kind of rotate, which they Weaver likes his safeties. So we'll see how that goes. But really, that's the only person. It really comes down to Tua. I don't think we're going to get much out of Zach Wilson if Tua goes down. Maybe he surprises me. Maybe he turns out to be like the Jets, the guy from Minnesota. And again, I'm completely blank. I really need to get some of these names down better. Oh my gosh, he just signed with Seattle. But anyway, maybe he can be somebody like that for Miami. But I think Miami's still going to be behind Buffalo. And the team that really I'm thinking a lot about is New England. And mostly because of their head. I think their head coach alone, I think Vrabel gives them 2 to 3 wins. Just his presence alone gives them a couple more wins than what they had if they don't change anything. And they have like $70 gazillion in free agency. And I know they have spent quite a bit. Of course, the big thing is the lockdown corners. Carlton Davis, cornerback out from Detroit. A great complimentary to the corner in New England. They're going to be able to lock people down. Absolutely lock people down. And if there's one thing that Mike Vrabel knows, it's defense. Very much Bill Belichick-ish. If he can get his quarterback the way that Bill Belichick had his quarterback with Tom Brady, where he doesn't have to worry about the offense. And Vrabel, I think he's going to bring in a power game. That's what he liked doing in Tennessee. So I think he'll do the same thing in New England. So New England scares me, honestly. I think if anybody comes from any place in the division, I think New England could surprise some people. And maybe it wouldn't be a surprise because I think a lot of people are expecting them to do better, which them doing better is not a big stretch from last year. But at the same time, could they leapfrog Miami? I think absolutely they could leapfrog Miami. Just again, Vrabel alone, I think, makes them a contender. Maybe not a playoff contender, but I think just that leapfrog, I think they could definitely finish in second place behind Buffalo. I just don't think nobody's, spoiler alert, because I haven't got to the Jets. Poor Jets. Sorry, haven't got to the Jets yet. So spoiler alert, yeah, nobody's catching Buffalo this year, or I don't see it unless something happens with Josh Allen. I don't think there's been enough movement, especially, I know Miami hasn't. New England has, but they need so much. I don't think they're going to be able to do it, but in the next 2 to 3 years, I think they're going to be right there with Buffalo. Hopefully Miami can keep up. We'll see how it goes. We know that jobs are going to be on the line this year. And then we go to the the, the lowly Jets. Guys, I'm sorry. I've been there. I've lived through horrible, horrible seasons, and the Jets. It just seems like they continuously shoot themselves in the foot. But I think at the same time, I think you got the right guy. I love Aaron Glenn, and for him to come in and just basically tell Aaron Rodgers, hey, you know, I'm not putting up with your crap. We can't start a team like this. Basically telling the ownership, we're not starting a team like this. If you want me, this is what's got to happen. And Aaron Rodgers goes bye-bye. And so I think for him to come in and make that statement gives you guys hope. It really does give you guys hope, because he's coming in and he's trying to change the narrative about the Jets. And a lot of coaches don't do that. They play to the players and try to compensate this guy and that guy. And for him to come in and tell Aaron Rodgers, a Hall of Famer, your services are no longer needed, that makes a statement to the rest of the team to say, all right, this guy ain't fooling around. So I think it's great. I think you guys have your coach for a while, unless you guys end up running him out of town, which New York is good for there. Hi. Anyway, no, I do. I think you've got your head coach for a little bit. No big signings in New York. Of course, everybody's talking about Justin Fields going there and maybe resurrecting his career in New York, but doesn't really scare me. So I think New York, I think you've got the right guy. I think he's going to get you guys out of the hole. I just don't think it's going to be this year. And with New England getting Vrabel and already really working on their defense, I think that's what's going to carry them. So obviously, no idea who's going to be playing quarterback for New England yet. But I think I love Mike Vrabel. I loved him in Tennessee. I thought it was a ridiculous move to get rid of him. And once he signed with New England, I about shed a tear because I knew what was coming. And so, New England Patriots fans, you're probably not going to be in the dumps very long. And luckily, you guys already remember what it's like to be winners. So, yeah, I don't think I want to tell you guys congratulations because you haven't suffered enough yet. So, I hope that you suffer a little bit more before he turns this around. But Mike Vrabel is going to turn it around, and I think honestly, New England, if Miami falters in the least, in the minutest, I think New England's going to be right there to leapfrog us, and we're going to be stuck in third place. So we'll see how it goes. I still think Miami's a better team, but they're not going to be as well coached. And I think their defense is going to be very solid. And we'll see if Tua can own Vrabel. Hey, he owned Bill Belichick. And, you know, he still hasn't lost to New England as a starter. So hopefully he can keep that going and stay healthy. And Miami can be right there challenging Buffalo, or at least pushing them, or I don't know, maybe holding their suitcase at this point, because Buffalo owns us. is, I mean, absolutely has owned us. So we own New England, they own us. Buffalo owns us. And New York, well, they're making payments to everybody right now. So anyway, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out at Finn's Temporal Focus, affectionately known as PTF. And make good decisions. And if you want to leave a comment, like, subscribe, all the typical stuff. And I don't mention it that much because that's not really why I do this, for likes and subscribe. I guess everybody wants the likes and subscribes, but it's not really what I do. I just like talking football. So if you guys want to talk to me, leave a message, in the comments, and let me know. Am I way off? Am I a complete idiot? And that's okay. I've been a complete idiot most of my life. I've been a Dolphins fan. But seriously, at least we had some good years when I started. but anyway, yeah. As far as free agency, there's not really a lot. And again, I'm only going to talk about the players that might make a difference on a team. I'm not going to talk about those camp bodies. So if there's somebody that I missed, or maybe they signed somebody that I missed, especially New York, Buffalo, New England, because I've seen all Miami's, and I tried to look up everything I could on the other three teams. And unless I missed something, just the guys that I talked about is the only ones that are real difference makers. And so we'll see how it goes. Again, drop a comment. Hey, what about this player? And we'll come back and we'll discuss it. I mean, that's what this is all about, is having fun and discussing it, and me telling you why you're wrong, you telling me why I'm wrong, and just having fun. And so far, this has been fun. So guys, make good decisions, and fins up.